Good morning to all. Since yesterday, I've been watching the video of the former president of Nigeria, General Babangida, acknowledging that in 1993, MKO Abiola, that has been vindicated, I think, by the former president Buhari, and given the title the first democratic president of Nigeria, actually won the election of 1993. He was doing this during the launching of his book, and I think that as you all know, Babangida is of age, and I can say it was to him like the last thing he should do to Nigerians before being called by God. Because if you all watch that, video, you will understand that Babangida is frail. He was in a frailty state because he seems to have been sick for a while. He was even brought to the book launch, I think, on a wheelchair. Whatsoever, I have committed an article on this topic, and I will invite you to go to my blog. The link to my blog is here to read this article about Babangida admission of MKO Abiola's victory in 1993 and what it represents to Nigerians. But I think that I will highlight certain things here today in this session. Sometimes in Africa, we have to be sincere to ourselves. We have to be sincere to the extent of pointing out things so that we shape the future. I've heard a lot of people say it is good he came out to apologize and that we are not more going back. Now we have to move forward. And you see, the issue in Africa is that we are so emotional and we tend to even celebrate evil. When I look at that hall and I saw the handful of people who were in that hall, the first thing that came to my mind is, what is going on? A lot of people were there. Former presidents were there. Dignitaries to come and applaud an evil man for what he has done to Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole. Listen, especially when he said that, when he acknowledged people were clapping. They were clapping for what? What was that clapping for? What impact? What is that clapping going to change to Nigeria? This is sad in Africa. And the shocking issue in it is that he said if he had the chance to do it again, he will do it differently. Listen, as if he did not have the chance at that time. These kind of things are happening in Africa because we have leaders who are much more interested in themselves than the nations. So far as we keep having leaders who are not interested in their nation's building, but their own interests and the interests of those around them, we'll have things like this. Listen, I strongly believe that Babangida knew that Abacha will come to power. I think that there was a click, and he knew that by annulling that election and creating the masquerade that he created, Babangida Abacha was going to come up and take power. It is sad enough to see that we are in a continent where our leaders are evil, and their evil is celebrated. At that particular time that Babangida raised that issue, for God's sake, even though it is something we all know, I don't think that there is anybody in Nigeria who will say he or she did not know Abiola won the election of 1993. Nobody. Because every record is there, documentaries, write-ups and books, etc. But come on, Babangida said that nonsense he said and left and went free. And we have all services in Nigeria, judicial services. If it was a common man that was criticizing the government, they will come for him that very moment. But when it is a dignitary, somebody that had all powers to change Nigeria, they applauded for him. It is sad enough that Africa will never grow. It's the same thing. Sometimes when I talk with my brothers and sisters in Nigeria, I tell them, as someone who is keen on African politics, I would tell you that it is the same thing happening everywhere. Evil leaders are saluted. Evil leaders are applauded. So far as they keep destroying our nations. Babangida had the opportunity to do the difference between Babangida and General Abdul Salami Abubakar is not in their ranks. It is in the fact that Abubakar put the Nigeria in front while Babangida put his interest. And today he comes and sits and is apologizing. What kind of apology? What will happen to all the lives? What will happen to the fact that the Abiola family has been destroyed? What will happen to the fact that lives have been lost? What will happen to people who went on exile? It is sad and shameful that we continue to have this kind of leaders. And sometimes I ask myself, is there something special that is given to these leaders when they get power in Africa, whereby they lose the human personality and their humanity? For those who have been following Nigeria, you all know the consequences of the decision that Babangida took. A selfish decision, a cowardized decision, because you can't be in position of power. You are the first personality of the country and say you were doing something under pressure. Who can pressurize you as president of a nation? Sometimes I get sick about these leaders. I remember meeting a top government official in Chad who was telling me our hands are tied. And I asked them, who tied your hands? These are the kind of grammar we hear from these leaders on a daily basis. And every time we will applaud them. We'll give them all the respect. Even when we know that they are destroying our nations. Even when we know that they are killing our countries. Even when we know that our lives will not be better with them. Nigerians, African continent as a whole, is the reflection of its leadership. And its leadership is a reflection of its people. Because leaders are those the people want. No leader is bigger than the people. So far as we have allowed selfishness to engulf us, to take over us as Africans, we will never have sound, inspired, visioned leaders in Africa. We'll only be having leaders who come for one purpose, and that purpose is destroying our nations and making our nations continue to go backward and backward